Welcome to Tuesday News latest today. I just thought I'd come back with another podcast. I've been away for a good few days now. I think the last podcast I did was 4 days ago, so quite a few things have happened, I say, in the news. Just on the RTE News website, landlord has over 100 Airbnb listings despite citywide ban. What that story is about, it's a brief story about landlord Mark Goddard has emerged as one of the most activist hosts on Airbnb in Dublin, despite a ban on short-term letting by the City Council. That is according to analysts of postings of short-term lettings on the site by RTE Investigates. A property managed by Luxembourg National previous featured in 2020 RTE broadcast. Undercover researchers capture footage showing up to 12 people living in a flat with one toilet. In recent weeks, RTE Investigate has been examining his role in short-term lettings in the city. It analysed the database of Q1 2020 listings on Airbnb for links to Mr. Goddard and his companies. So that'll probably be on that story. I reckon will probably be on a few things today. And then the other what RTE are reporting in the news there as well is France knife attacker did not have terrorist motives. What that story is basically about is a Syrian refugee suspected of stabbing six people in the French alpine town of Annecy this morning did not appear to have a terrorist motive, the local prosecutor told us. Well, two of the young children and an adult victim are reportedly in critical condition in hospital. Lynn Bonnet Mattis said that of the four children injured in the assault, one was aged just 22 months, two were 2-year-olds, and the eldest was 3. One is from the UK and another is from Germany. The suspect is a Syrian in the early 30s who was granted refugee status in Sweden. In April, a police source told AFP he was arrested at the scene. In a video reviewed by the APN news agency and confirmed by a source close to the case, the actor can be heard twice saying, in the name of Jesus Christ in English. So that's another story then. And retired TV cameraman faces a sentence of assault. This is another story. A retired television cameraman will be sentenced next week after being found guilty. He was found guilty by jury last month of one account of sexual assaulting Donna McCarthy from Denbourne at the same address. Tony Bourne, 63, of Carlow Court, 4 At a sentence hearing, a Dublin Criminals Judge Elmer adjourned the case to Wicklow, 14th June, for final date. The court heard Mrs. McCarthy has waived her rights to anonymity. So that's the other case. That's the other thing that's ongoing. Lawyers of dying women appeal to HSC settle case. What this story is basically saying, lawyers for a woman dying of cervical cancer have appealed to the health services to the High Court to settle her case over the alleged misreporting of a cervical smear slides. The judge was told the 51 is gravely ill and it's only a matter of days before she dies. Senior Patrick Tracy told Mr. Justin Paul Coffey that a solicitor Keane Carroll has been told yesterday by the woman husband that she is now under hospice care and her situation was so serious she could not consult with him. And that's then I'm just going to mostly all of the things on the RTE website first. Former radio DJs to be sentenced for money laundering. That story is interesting enough. A former radio DJ is to be sentenced later this year after she made money laundering 10,000 through her bank account. Nikki Hayes, 44, whose real name is Emma Black O'Keefe, pleaded guilty to possession of the money as the proceeds of crime in a permanent TSB bank account. The bank account was the name of Emma Black with an address of the Way Hunters Road, Dublin 15. The former Tour Fame, a classic DJ, was remanded on bail. So then that's the other thing. And then man on trial for 2016 murder of Garrett Hutch. Garrett Hutch was shot 4 times, as I was saying. 37-year-old has gone on trial, accused of the murder. Thomas McConnell of Sullock Gardens, Ballymore in Dublin, has pleaded not guilty to the murder of Gareth Hutch at Avondale House, North Cumberland Street in Dublin. So that's mainly that's and then the flight to New York halted over poor visibility. I said that's a smoky yellow haze was generated by hundreds of Canadian wildfire hoovered over a large swath of United States, threatening to make breathing difficulty and disruption air travel for millions of people for a second full day. The US National Weather Service extended air quality alerts for another day for the East Coast from New England to South Carolina, as well as parts of the Midwest, including Oregon, Indiana, and Michigan. Advised to stay indoors, residents of New York, Washington, and other big cities donned masks and scrambled to buy air purifiers to protect themselves from the yellow haze that arrived in the region. I saw that on the news. It's quite scary, and it's from the wildfires. It is really scary when you look at that. And then that's mostly all the news then on that. The entertainment news then on the Ireland on the RTE website is Ireland's fittest families reveal new coach and president. Irish Olympic when Sonia O'Sullivan has been announced as new coach in Ireland's fittest family, while 2FM Laura Fox will be the popular's choice new presenter. Caroline Flack's mother voices support for Prince Harry. An X Factor star calls for investigation into reality TV. So then that's and Coronation Street legend Julie Goodyear has dementia. That's then on the sports. I was just going to go through the sports then. GA rejects Martin Garvey Croke Park switch. What they was trying, what Garvey and Amar were trying to do there was to get the match switched. GA has turned down a request to have the full-come Ireland move from Carrick-on-Shannon to Croke Park. The country submitted a request earlier today. Tickets for the fixture will be sold online rather than allocated through clubs. And that's then on that story. And then FAIC have reduced debt by almost 20 million, says CEO of FAI. He says it's reduced its overall debt. Hill began his tenure as chief executive in November 2020 with the FAI in turmoil. He became the FAI's first permanent CEO since April 2019, when John Delaney voluntarily stepped aside following revelations of a 100,000 loan he gave to the association. We will get the money. That's the real reason why we put the plan together, the vision together, and the strategy. So that's what that man says there. And then the Hogan stand. I was just going to go briefly through the Hogan stand. Derry did not want excuse after Ulster final, says McGuigan. We will live on forever in the history of our games. What that story is about is poor old Larry McCarthy says that the late Teddy McCarthy will live on forever in the history of a game. The Cork great passed away suddenly on Tuesday at the age of 58, and tributes from the GA community have been flowing since from the Glanmore and Sarsfield representation, who is the only player to have won All-Ireland medals while in both football and hurling. While attending the All-Ireland British Championship in London this week, Mr. McCarthy said the outpouring of emotion which had greeted the sad news about the passing of Teddy McCarthy says much about the esteem in which he was held. So it's really this I was reading the Irish Independent there. I have that as well. It says more about. It's really sad when you listen to it. He played in the 1990 final. I think I was probably at it. Galway and Cork. It was very interesting, but it was great that he won in the two. And I would like to say sorry. I'm very sorry to hear about that. It's very sad day for Cork GA. So then I was just going to go through now what else before I go. Let me see. Let's see how I'm getting on in this podcast. It's pretty riveting and stuff. I'm getting on all right, I think. I was just going to now go through the usual weekly thing. The Bray People News. First, the article was by Ali Bracken, a former school teacher in Bray will not face criminal charge over allegation he physically abused up to 30 pupils, a decision that has left his alleged victims absolutely devastated. The teacher isn't being named, no charges are saying. It's claimed the teacher regularly punched and kicked them and picked them up by the ears until they passed out. One of the complainants, Sean Martin, said, "As a group, we are very disappointed. We are devastated. Many of us already written to the DPP asking for the reason why." So that article then, and there's more about it inside. The guard that phoned, he was full of empathy for us. He paid what some of the victims had endured was harrowing. Brady calls for ban on evictions to return. Demand comes as total of 48 recorded in April. Wicklow Sinn Féin John Brady has called for the government to immediately reinstate the ban on no-fault evictions at 48 adults were recorded as homeless in Wicklow in just 1 week. His call was made in response to the latest homeless report from the Department of Housing, which showed a total of 298 adults and children were officially homeless in the Middle East region, which includes Wicklow. Water and fire staff begin strike action, so that's what it says there. And then it says more than something about the dart there. It shouldn't be standard practice to cancel darts on bank holidays. At the monthly meeting of Greystone's Municipal District, a motion was presented in the name of Councillor Stephen that the Greystones should write to Irish Rail requesting the maintenance work should not normally be scheduled on back to bank holiday weekends unless essential. And then Wicklow has run with Ray set for Avondale. I see that he's going to run 5k in Wicklow in Avondale, so that should be interesting enough. Wicklow's blue flags raid as lifeguard returned to duty. Blue flags were raised on British Bay, North and South Greystone to signal the start of the bathing season, which runs until September the 15th. And then more presentation Bray bids goodbye to a man of wit and wisdom, John Dillon, who is retiring after 42 years of presenting Colin Bray, colleague Clifton Rooney. And budget for Greystone service now too low as town population grows. It feels much like the power is in our hands, but our hands have handcuffed to the railing. So that's then on this. And then Wicklow Truly Garden of Ireland as designer given 5 Bloom Awards. They don't call Wicklow the Garden of Ireland without good reason. After the opening morning of Bord Bia Bloom. And then 100,000 given to fund biodiversity. Trinity Biotech to add up to 40 new jobs in Bray. Minister Simon attends the launch of a big recruitment drive by Trinity Biotech at the Irish headquarters in Bray. And then 72 QQ awards for National Learning Network students given out. So that's on that paper there. That's on the Bray people. And there's a good few pictures in this opening day of New Greystone's Harbour Market. And bloody history brought to life in the pictures. A splendid reenactment of the Battle of Newtown Mackenzie took place to mark a special festival in the town which commemoration of the Battle of Newtown Mackenzie and the events leading to following the United Irishman Rebellion of 1798, the largest national rebellion in Irish history. And there's pictures that dressed out. It's like the reenactment, as I was saying there. It's gone out in the paper, and then more pictures there in the paper there of it. And then Avoca host Wicklow Fla for first time. There was a fantastic buzz around Avoca when the Wicklow Miners CNC hosted the petition Wicklow County Flair Ceol for the very first time. The historical festival saw hundreds of best musicians, singers and dancers from around the Garden County descend on the picturesque town to compete for a place at the Leinster Flair, which will be held in Dublin in July. So a lot of people took place in that. And then I'm just going to try to go Tinny Keely gears up for Crimna Og workshop. And then more pictures then inside. There's an article then about how is he at Global star Hosier opens up to Port O'Neill about his creation process ahead of August's new album release. I'd rather take my time if I could take me a year to write a song. I'd certainly not the avant-garde artist and says Hosier. People get enjoyed and out of work. I'm delighted, but it's not why I do it. That's what he says there, the artist. So the write up there about that is. And then there's a write up then about a doctor I see. Doctor on mission to help save more lives. At the age of 37, Dr. Mark Ruddy has already clocked up an impressive career as SGP in many places, such as Western Australia. He tells reporter David Metcalf about life as a doctor in Wicklow and his work with the critical ambulance services. So that's there, and it shows you a picture then of it there further on. One year, by the year end, I had seen a lot of interesting stuff and a lot of tragedy. I get to see people on the worst days of their lives. So, Dr. Mark Ruddy in Arklow, in the critical ambulance. And then Centre Spread, there can be only one story really. That's the main story there in all of the people's in the life. I see Wicklow, the East Coast Radio didn't have much about it there for the last couple of days. They didn't mention it, I don't think. I was listening to the radio earlier on. I was surprised. They didn't mention the Nicky Rackard Cup, which Wicklow won. Martin O'Brien fought and Ben Carney of Wicklow after their side victory in the Nicky Rackard Cup final against Donegal at Croke Park. And Casey O'Brien with the Nicky Rackard Cup back in the dressing room after the final in Croke Park. John Henderson lifts the Nicky Rackard Cup after county victory over Donegal in the Nicky Rackard Cup final at Croke Park. And then Wicklow ladies face Tyrone in All Ireland opener. Gavin wins. Wicklow ladies football find themselves in a tricky group for the All Ireland Intermediate Championship that gets underway this Sunday against Tyrone in Lernia GFC in Loud. Joining Wicklow and Tyrone in group with Clare and Offaly, while Group 1 is made up of so that'd be an interesting enough group, a hard enough group there for the ladies. A very special day, Super Football and Fun at Edmonton's Memorial Cup. Wicklow Athletics in fine form in Tullamore. Jonas Stafford of East Cork on his way to winning the senior boys 5,000 metres under 1 to 3 All Ireland School Track and Field Championship. So, and then lack of rules knowledge causes aggressive and mood. This kind of behaviour is not acceptable. It's about the referee. Brendan Lawrence writes an article county board meeting. If a referee makes a mistake, his personal family, his appearance, and his physique are subjected to ridicule, sarcastic abuse, and mild contempt. So that article is worth reading. It's at AGM GA club meeting. And little support for under 19 shine to summer. The hopes of being able to watch the under 19s footballers of Wicklow completing a club championship at the height of summer were ended of last Monday's evening county board meeting. You're too far behind getting everything in order when you're waiting for the completion to finish. So, GA Canada too busy to grant LFG requests. And then healthy discussion. What this was saying. CSC intermediate hurling proposal voted through. And now I'm not sure what it is. There's a few different rules there. I think Bray Emmett's in a fairly competitive enough group in the hurling. They'll be in the intermediate there this year as well, and it'd be pretty interesting to see can Bray do it again. They've done it for the last couple of years, but they'd be up against it with Glenealy, Carnell, as I was saying, there are different teams that's going into it. Concern of how remarks were received. Corporate trustee clarification concerned the comments at the last county might turn clubs off going down the corporate trustee route. At Wicklow GA, Chris O'Connor to clarify the issue at Monday evening meeting at JGM Clubhouse. Delegates said chairman jumped down his throat. Now I don't know what that was about. St. Patrick's GA Club delegate Eddie Leonard voiced his concern that how he raised issues concerning the format of the Intermediate Hurling Championship was dealt with. So, as I'm saying there, they're trying to do changes to it. I'm not sure. I'd have to read that down further. Calls for support of clubs. Wicklow GA clubs were asked to get behind the annual golf classic. And then more about the Wicklow hurlers in the centre paper. But Wicklow footballers exit the 2003 season with a ban. But that score was Wicklow 214, Limerick 110. Congratulations, Wicklow, on that great win that they had, even though we're not going further. It just says, while some reward in the Tolton Cup achieved promotion to Division 3 for next season, has been the real reward for Oisin McConville's first term in charge. Lots to look forward to next year, and well done, Wicklow, on your year this year. I was proud of you. You got even though you didn't do any good in the Tolton Cup, you didn't get any further, but you won that match. It was very good, and the top scorers then in that was Conor Fee had three, Jack Cohen won one, uh, John Paul Nolan won three. He had a good game, and so he made plenty of changes there. It took him a Max Jackson see following a turnover. Max Jackson didn't play well, didn't play bad either. He scored a few couple of plays, so well done Wicklow on that. So now I'm going to go to the Wicklow hurlers, the Nicky Rackard Cup, which there was a lot to get through. It was Wicklow 120, Donegal 312. So Wicklow captain John Henson lifts the Nicky Rackard Cup column victory over Donegal. There's a good few there. I'm delighted for the players, says Casey. Casey leads hurlers to win. It shows you him there outside the Bray Emmets clubhouse, which they greeted all the supporters there. Carnage seen hurlers, Patrick Doyle, Colin McGray, Tony Collins. So that's a good picture there. And then strongest team I've ever played against. Captain and John Henderson achieved something that very few beings all ever get to experience in a lifetime by climbing the steps of the Hogan stands. So, final countdown for Andy O'Brien 92 to 517. That was the score. He called it a day, Andy O'Brien, but he did play super stuff. A huge step forward, a proud day for Bourne. Uh, Damien Bunn was a proud man in Croke Park on Saturday afternoon when John Henderson, looking up from the position on the field, the Kentegan man behind the beautiful sight of delighted Wicklow crowd waved flags and cheering in the Cogan flags. So it was a proud day there. And it shows you Wicklow hurling, Nick O'Hagan, Damien Bourne, and Jack Napier there on the thing, and a lovely picture then inside. As I was saying there, there's a lovely picture in the centre. A wonderful victory for Wicklow hurling, which it shows you all the players there. So then it shows you the different pictures there. So it was a great day for Wicklow, and I was delighted to be at it. I'm going out on my own terms, says Andy O'Brien. Andy O'Brien calls it a day in Crogo, so we knew if we got the last half, we were there or there for with them being able to bring on Podge Tool and Danny. So that was a well day, great result for Wicklow, and puts them now in the Christie ring. So and then home are the heroes. It says then a superb Bray Emmett's welcome for the victorious Wicklow hurlers. Wicklow Martin O'Brien and his family. We need to learn from them, put our own plan in place, and let them hurling people drive us on to more magical days in the future, says that article. So that's then all of that. It was a great day for Wicklow hurling anyway. And then I was just going to go quickly through this because Graham Wonders got a draw with Go United, I see, and it's evenly placed. I think they're three or fourth on the table. I'm not sure. The match the last day they lost, I think, which was surprised. They were playing. I'm not sure now who they were playing, but they lost. I was surprised at that. And then I'm just going through this quickly here. There's more about the. Then I'll go to Edward. What he has this week is a lemon and strawberry ice cream cake with poached strawberries. Oh God, that looks lovely. Lemon and strawberry ice cream with poached strawberries in this. And then Kilmechanic Diary, the usual. It shows you pictures there. Senior Citizen Lunch and Musical Bingo, Tom Kennedy Memorial. And then I usually go to the cars, which the cars then this week small and perfectly formed. The new Opel Corsa will be here soon, powered by completely new electric and hybrid drives, so it looks a great car. Opel will also offer customers the option of switching to hybrid with a 48 volting system. The stunning new Opel is on its way, powered by completely new electric and hybrid drives. The stylish newcomer and takes Opel's already strong offer in the small car, arriving in Ireland in late 2023. Pricing would be announced closer to launch. Looks a lovely car, all right. And Kia is introduced as a smart tech which aim to make electric vehicles more convenient. I see that's in the market. And then I quickly go through the paper here, as I was saying there, to the last page, which I normally finish at the end of my podcast, which I finished today. Great Greeting a Pond for Wildlife is a great venture. Green for Wildlife is an effective and rewarding venture, and it won't be there for a long before life collines it. And then there's an article then, a stress-free life keeps indoor cats healthier. It's what that article, Pete Wedderburn says, measures to help keep cats stress-free include high up beds. It just says they need this kind of things. And then films to watch out for. The Post is on Monday. It's on Film 4, 6:45. And Man of Steel, I see, is ITV. That's on a Tuesday at 10:45. And then the album this week in 1973, I see My Baby Jive by Wizard, and then Can the Can, Susie Quattro, and One on One Medical Head. Wizard number one that inspired ABBA's Waterloo. Wizard's first number one has impressed claim to fame. The 1970 number one was acknowledged by ABBA as the most influence on the Eurovision smash Waterloo. So then that's about it. I'll just wrap it up there. I just thought I'd bite back with another. The next episode now, I be planned to do the Irish Independent News. I have it from that paper. I was reading news there earlier on. I hope you enjoyed my podcast today. This is the 10th episode. I'm well into the season now, and I plan to put up a few things on Patreon. I'm on Patreon as well. I haven't done much with it though, but I plan to update it or do something with it. So hope you enjoy that, and I hope you enjoy my podcast. If you want anything, I'm looking for to interview people, or if anyone's interested, get in contact with me. I am on Facebook. I am on other things as well, Twitter, Instagram. So you can contact me, and I'm on quite a few things. And thanks for listening, and goodbye for now.